Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, groomer Joey Villani, news director Lori Brooks. And now, from the Red Barn Studios, here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
You know, I'm looking at the docket for today's show, and I got to tell you, if I was just switching on the dial and I heard what's on today's show, I would actually listen to today's show.
You would?
That's how good today's show is.
Wow.
You have booked James Guiliani. Is it Guiliani or Giuliani?
Probably Giuliani.
We better find out. He, of course, he was a mobster.
Yes,
he was the head mobster. He was what they called the enforcer in Brooklyn for 20-odd years.
Wow.
He worked with John Gotti.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So why is he going to be on Animal Radio? Well, he has a brand new television show about animals. He's changed. He's a changed man, I understand.
Really? Animals have turned his life around?
That and some jail time. I think both have turned him around. But he'll be on the show in just a few minutes.
You know, I'm from Brooklyn. You know, I'm sick today. You know, I got some sort of chest thing. I don't know what the heck's going on. But, you know, I'm from Brooklyn. And Joe the Butcher and Hal the Slasher used to come into my dad's restaurant on Ralph Avenue. So I'm excited to talk to. And by the way, it's Mr. Guiliani.
Is it Guiliani? Guiliani? Okay, remember.
I'm just telling you the wrong way to say it so that you can make him really mad.
Well, if anyone's going to make him mad, it's going to be Joey Villani, who feels like, I guess
it's going to be you.
No, it'll be Joey.
Listen, come on. There's only one dog father. I grew up in northern New Jersey. I know all the boys. Stop it, please.
It takes a lot of guts to say something like that.
So do you know James Guiliani?
Never heard of him.
By the way, check that pronunciation.
I will.
Yeah.
I will. I don't trust Alan.
That's right.
Also
That's
on today's show, we're going to talk to a lady who's, is she a doctor who talks about dementia? Dr. Jennifer Bolser.
Yes, she is.
Do our animals get dementia? I mean, we do. Do they? Well, we'll find out on today's show. Stacy, what are you working on?
Well, there's an American health crisis, and it has nothing to do with federal health care websites, rising deductibles, or even doctor shortages. Something that you are well aware of, and it's probably crawling between your legs right now. I'll tell you about it and what it is.
Okay.
On Animal Radio News. Don't look down.
Yeah. Don't even want to go there.
You know, how did you know? So I looked down as soon as she said that.
We're going to go to, how about Chris? Hey, Chris, how are you doing?
Could be richer.
Oh, me too. Well, we're rich in a special way. It may not be money, but we have a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, he says.
My son lives up on a mountain ridge in Pennsylvania, and we have more than our fair share of bears. Right now, he's got 2 of them, and one of them is he's being okay when the dogs go out. He's got 3 dogs. He runs up a tree like he's supposed to, but there's another one that my son describes as the biggest animal he has ever seen. He comes right up onto his porch, which is also his deck, and when the dogs try to run him off, he just kind of looks like him with this look on his face like, what do you think you're doing here? This is my deck. And my son has gone out there with his shotgun and shot it up in the air, and the bear just looks at him like, what are you making noise for?
Oh, no.
You know, hunting season is several months away. The animal people have been up there trying to figure out, they put traps up, and, of course, that's not working.
Mm-hmm.
We think the big bear has been trapped once before and was relocated to my son's neighborhood. So he's not going to crawl into a trap again.
Yeah.
And he's going to try to get into the house.
Oh, sure. And, you know, the biggest thing with bears is, you know, food motivates them to do a lot of things and put themselves in scenarios where we don't think that they would be comfortable with. So that's the biggest thing, that when we're dealing with bears kind of crossing into our realm, into our environments, is to ensure that we're doing everything we can to make it less favorable for them to want to come in close to our homes, and that's usually taking control of food, garbage, any kind of edibles, whether it's fruit trees, things of that nature. So that's the first thing that really to make sure that we do is that we're not leaving garbage out. If it's in, preferably we keep garbage indoors or in a shed and only put it out or take it to the dump when it's time, because that they'll keep coming back if they've got that. Or if you feed birds, if you have bird feeders out, that's a great thing that they'll be attracted to. Dog food, sitting outside in bowls. All of these things are food sources, so they really have to be zero attractants and desire for them to want to come nearby. So that's definitely the one big thing that I would suggest to do. And bears don't always scare, and if the dogs aren't scaring this one, it may be hard. And sometimes you do have to call in the wildlife authorities, where they'll have the bear deterrent crews. And I've seen this, in different documentaries where they use sometimes even not just regular bullets, but even rubber bullets to try to scare them away. They have to train them to be afraid of being around people. So hopefully those local authorities, can have the right resources for that. But you got to clean up everything. I mean, garbage, clean those garbage cans out. Motion activated lights, if they're getting close, you can try activating them. Some of the really bright halogen lights. So if they're coming near the home at night or near where your garbage is secured, you have something like that to help deter them and to kind of scare them away. But I feel for you, man, because, it's hard when wildlife gets close to your home. You have a responsibility and a right to, make sure everyone's safe and protected there. So sometimes you got to do what you need to do and call those people.
Well, I think you nailed it. The garbage is taken inside the house. My son, even this year, planted 12 more fruit trees.
Oh, yeah. And that's hard, because if you have one, then it's reasonable to say you're going to go around and pick up the fallen fruit and things like that. But if you've got a grove that you've got, that's just asking them to come close to the home. So I'm not saying chop those trees down, but you just got to weigh the pros and cons, and that might be something that if those bears are attracted to, they're going to keep coming.
Yeah, he was planting the fruit trees for the deer. And this is added bonus, I think.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, the deer.
Scent or anything we could put out there that they're afraid of that you know of?
Well, as far as different scents, just cleaning up, if you have like the garbage areas, there are definitely some folks that will advocate putting lime in there just to help kind of cover up the odors of garbage. As far as deterrence, scents, I'm not really aware of anything that's good to keep them away. The biggest thing is to keep the food odors away. So even like garbage, you can vacuum pack garbage or make sure that, you keep any of the food related garbage out at a very minimum just when you're, disposing of things. I feel for you, man. I hope the deer come around, but I hope the bears go away.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thanks for your call, Chris. Thanks for listening to Animal Radio. 1-866-405-8405. Don't forget that Dr. Debbie's books on Shih Tzus, Pugs, and Mini Schnauzers available. If you have one of those, you should check out How to Be Your Dog's Best Friend. It's an ebook, and we link to it from animalradio.com. Let's head back to the phones here. We have Jesus. Hey, Jesus. How are you?
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing? I have a question. How dogs, we all have the same kind of organs, a stomach and liver and all that. But I don't know so much. But the dogs and cats, they burp.
Okay, so there's kind of two questions if I got that right. So you want to know if dogs are like us and they have all the same organs, and then you want to know if dogs burp. Is that correct?
Never burp at all, and I'm just curious.
Okay. All righty. Yeah. Well, dogs definitely do burp and they pass wind. And some dogs definitely do it more often than other breeds. And for anyone who might have, say, a boxer or an English bulldog, those guys are really very windy from both ends. And it does play a role with kind of how they are taking in their air. So if they're kind of like that, you're going to see a lot more gas on either end. So definitely, yeah. If your doggy doesn't do much burping, then you're maybe fortunate. But I'd rather have it come up the front end than go out the backside.
Hey, that's for sure. Here. Amen. True dat.
My little ladybug burps.
Ladybug, she has little quaint burps. They're like,
she does.
I've seen Dr. Debbie breathe like that when she sees a larva or a tapeworm.
No, I do get excited. I really do. I enjoy those things. But you know what? The brachycephalic, the dogs that have kind of smushed in faces, they are just known to be gassy fellas and ladies too. So that may be a part of the case with your dog. I don't know.
Coming up in just a couple of minutes right here, we're going to talk to Dr. Jennifer Bolser, and she's studying animals to find out if they get dementia, just like humans. So that should be interesting. I can't imagine I think my cat already has Alzheimer's. Pretty sure.
I had a dog that had cognitive dysfunction.
Oh, really? There's actually a name for it, huh?
Yes, there is. And actually, I was just a child when my dog had it, and it was very upsetting. But, as I got older, I learned about it, and it is definitely a real thing.
How old was your dog?
Well, he lived to be 17, but he was probably around 14, 15 when he really started developing problems. He'd get kind of lost and kind of stuck in corners of the house and slept during the day, and then at the middle of the night, he'd be wandering around the house like, he was some kind of night owl. Those were the biggest things.
Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to talk to William Braden. He is the filmmaker, what did you call it? Filmmaker behind Henry.
Yes.
Henry the Cat, viral video on YouTube.
Henry Le Chat.
Is it Henri?
Henri.
I don't know my French. Is it Henri?
Henri, yes.
Very good.
Henri
Le
Le Chat.
You do know your French.
Yes.
I like it when you talk French like that.
Ooh.
Very
Ooh la la.
exciting. Voulez-vous se coucher? I'm la du fromage. A duru le soir, a dada le soir. He'll be on the show because he's hosting the Internet Cat Video Festival, which you probably think is just a bunch of single women that will never marry sitting around in the local
I was
veterans
surprised
hall.
at how many guys were there.
An amazing turnout all over the country. Minnesota, it was huge. I mean, it looked like Woodstock in Minnesota. The screen that they showed the pictures on, all the videos,
Thousands of people.
was small, dwarfed compared to the thousands of people surrounding it. These are big deals, and they're traveling across the country, and he's hosting it. He'll be on the show right here in just a couple of minutes, right here on Animal Radio. This healthy serving of Animal Radio is brought to you by the grain-free Red Barn Naturals, canned food for dogs and cats, always made in the USA with natural, functional ingredients to support your pet's optimal health. You can learn more at redbarninc.com, and thank you so much, Red Barn, for underwriting Animal Radio.
Admit it, you love your dog, and he is part of the family. So when choosing your next vacation, don't forget Fido. With just a little planning, the entire family can enjoy a road trip. To find the best vacation spot for Spot, subscribe to Fido Friendly, the travel and lifestyle magazine for you and your dog, where each issue includes hotel and destination reviews, where both you and Fido are welcome. Go online to FidoFriendly.com and find out what all the barking's about.
Hi, this is Iron Chef Kat Cora on Animal Radio. Please adopt a pet.
I have a question for Alan about those damn harnesses. I think we've talked about those before. The chest harnesses.
I think they're stupid and useless.
I have dogs coming in my office, and people are so afraid of their dog choking on a regular collar or a choker harness or a choker that they put all varieties of harnesses on. And there's the kind that like attaches to the front, the chest harness, and the one that kind of buckles over the back. And they just, in my opinion, they learn to be sled dogs.
Well, if you're going to teach a dog anything, and that's what we have to be as teachers, we're always talking about your job is to be a teacher. You can't teach a dog anything if you can't correct him. It's kind of like when you have a baby or a child and you want your child to do certain things and not do other things, you can use language to say, no. And with the dog, you've got to be able to divert their attention and change their focus. And the only way to do that is, you've got to have a way to correct them. And the only way to correct the dog is physically. You have to touch them to correct them. And so I can see why people would be afraid, because they got these out-of-control dogs that are pulling at the leash, and it looks like they're going to choke themselves, and how horrible that is. But, the dog is not going to choke himself. And if your dog is pulling at the leash like that, then you've got to start over from the beginning and teach your dog to walk on a leash properly, and teach your dog how to behave with corrections. And you've got to give your dog lots of exercise. I see this stuff every day, and I want to jump in and help people, but most people that I see, they don't really want help, and they really can't be helped because they don't want it. They just want to talk about their dogs. I mean, I've got this neighbor, her dogs charge everybody. They run off the property, they terrorize people. And I go by her house yesterday, and my wife's with me, and she's terrorized of these dogs, and they they come charging out, and I just stand there, and, my dog's with me. He's all calm and relaxed, and in a second it's diffused because we have no fear. And then this woman comes out, and she just wants to talk about her dogs, and, this one's the stubborn one, and he does this, and he does that, and I don't care. I don't want to hear it, I don't care. I mean, do you want to learn how to teach your dog not to charge and terrorize people? That's the basic question. And obviously the answer is no. She does not want to learn this.
Women are sometimes like that. They don't want answers. They don't want us men to find answers.
Wait a minute now. Stop it out.
They just want us to say that.
Well, Alan, you are just totally validating my opinion, because I took some bad press when I wrote my Yorkie book, and someone wrote, "How dare you say to use a pinch collar or a choker on my dog? Why would I hurt an animal that I love?"
Oh my God! Can I just tell you? Can I tell you a story? Can I tell you a real? I was at the baseball field, and I've got one of those collars with the little prongs on it that simulates a mother's teeth, and I have it on my dog, my 120-pound dog. I used it on him in the beginning when I taught him and trained him, and so this woman comes up to me and she's like, "How cruel, that you have that on your dog." And so I took it off and I put it around my neck, and I proceeded to pull it and correct myself the way I would correct him. And she goes, "Well, I don't care. It's still cruel." And my neck has no fur. It's a small human neck, and I'm not being hurt by the damn thing. It's just a poke. And I go, do you have a dog at home? She goes, "What is it, a macho thing?" I go, No, it has nothing to do with that. I go, "Do you have a dog at home?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "Well, why isn't your dog here at the baseball field with you?" "Oh, I can't bring him out of the house. He'd be out of control if he were here. There's other dogs. I go, Exactly. That's my point. My dog's here. He's happy, he's content, he's calm, he's mellow, because we've taught him how to behave by using this collar appropriately and with respect and properly, and it's not hurting him in the least. But you're a human, and you've got the human thoughts and the human emotions and the human crazy, and you're going to attack me while my dog is here with me, as happy as he can be, and your dog's locked away from you at home with nobody to play with and be with. Isn't that nice?
It's a tool. Tool used properly is very effective.
That is correct. 1-866-405-8405. It's toll free to the Dream Team. We're going to check out what's happening in the newsroom in just a couple of seconds.
Well, do you know who the most interesting man in the world is? How about this? He drinks Dos Equis beer.
It's not me.
And he's going to be helping a Vermont company raise money to fight cancer in dogs. I'll tell you who it is and what he's doing coming up on Animal Radio News.
I know this guy.
Oh, do you? Okay.
His name is Juan Pablo.
Also on the way in just a few minutes now, I'm actually checking something off my bucket list. This was actually on my bucket list, to talk to a mob enforcer before I kick the bucket. And we're going to do that today. James Guiliani, he worked for John Gotti 20 years in Brooklyn, and now he's a rescuer. He rescues cat. He says he's changed his ways. We're going to speak to him in just a few minutes.
There are people that think, anybody can be changed. Mm-hmm. But some people are born. My daughter, she watched an episode of Dexter last night. She comes running downstairs, she starts freaking out. And she goes, "Yeah, he enjoys. I can't watch that. It's horrible. He enjoys hurting people." And I go, "Yeah, there's people in the world like that. They get a rush out of, violence." Well, guys like that are scary. You have no idea what he's done. Did I ever tell you, okay, my dad, he had the restaurant. And the mob guys used to come in, the low-level enforcer guys, Joe the Butcher and Sal the Slasher. And I was 13, I'd be washing dishes, and Joe the Butcher, he liked me. He had a big gun. And one day, I decided to have a conversation with Joe the Butcher, and I said, "Joe the Butcher, you like me?" And he goes, "Yeah, I like you. You're a nice kid. You're a good kid." I said, "Well, could you kill me?" And he goes, "Well, yeah." And I go, "Well, but you like me." And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "Then how could you kill me?" He goes, "Well, it would be business." And I go, "So even people you like, you could kill." And I go, "Do you like killing people?" And he goes, "Yeah, I do. I enjoy it. I get a big rush out of it."
Well, this is what James Guiliani said, and he changed his ways when he ran into a dog. Now he's rescuing these animals. He has a shelter with 60 animals in them. Has a brand new television show on Oprah Network about the Diamond Collar, his pet store, and what he does in his rescue. So he's changed his ways.
He scares a lot of people by the way he sounds and the way he looks, but he's a pussycat.
Also, if you like cat videos, stick around. We have William Braden on. He's the filmmaker for Henry Le Chat Noir. Hey, don't forget, you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Download it now. It's made possible by Fear-Free Pets, taking the pet out of petrified. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com.
People say less is more. At Red Barn, we think less is better. It's what you won't find that sets our natural premium pet food apart. No byproducts, no corn or soy, no fillers. Just the natural ingredients your pets need to live the healthy life they deserve. Look at the label. We want you to. Red Barn Naturals Pet Food. Simply the best. Find it in your local pet specialty store. Try our chicken rolled food as a meal or shredded as a topper.
Hello, this is Loretta Swit, and I'm on Animal Radio. And please don't forget to spay and neuter.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacy Cohen for Animal Radio. Well, there's an American health crisis, and it has nothing to do with federal healthcare websites, rising deductibles, or doctor shortages. Pets are getting sicker, and many owners don't even have a clue. The reason? They don't go to the vet. Dog vet visits have slipped 21% since 2001. Cat visits have dropped 30%, according to the American Veterinary Medical Association. Meanwhile, though, emergency visits have increased, indicating that people are just waiting until their pets get really sick to do anything about it. The crisis in pet health has spurred a new $5.5 million public awareness campaign that's urging annual checkups. The campaign is sponsored by a consortium called Partners for Healthy Pets. The big thing we all tend to forget is a pet's lifespan is 10 to 15 years. So skipping a physical is like a person not going to a doctor for 5 or 7 years. The sooner you catch any disease, the easier it is to treat it successfully. There's a new app from the American Red Cross that helps dog and cat owners care for their pets in an emergency situation. The Red Cross Pet First Aid app is available for iPhones and Androids. It only costs 99 cents to download. It's got a lot of good stuff. It's got step-by-step instructions, videos, and images on how to treat more than 25 common first aid situations for pets, including bleeding, burns, and cardiac and respiratory problems. You can create a pet profile, tag identification number, photos, list of medications, instructions, whole bunch of cool stuff. Find emergency pet care facilities or alternate veterinarians with the Animal Hospital Locator. You can also locate pet-friendly hotels. All you have to do is go to redcross.org/mobile apps, and you can find it. What looks like the most interesting man in the world is actually helping a Vermont-based company raise money to fight cancer in dogs. Jonathan Goldsmith, he's a Manchester resident, made famous by his role in the Dos Equis beer commercials. But he's also a dog lover, and he's hoping to help raise some funds for the Denver-based Morris Animal Foundation. It promotes veterinary research for companion animals, horses, and wildlife. Pretty simple. Takes money, said, and I can help them raise money, said Goldsmith. He's got 2 shepherds. He lost a 3rd dog to canine cancer. The nicest thing about so-called celebrity status is to be able to call attention to the things you believe in. Good guy. I'm Stacy Cohen. You can get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Hey, this is Big Ant from Rescue Inc. Remember, spay and neuter your animal, and abusers are losers. Now back to Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Download the Animal Radio app for iPhone or Android. Ask your questions directly from the app as well as listen to past shows. Delve into our resources. It's a real mouse. What do they call that? Rabbit hole? You download our app, you'll be busy for the next few hours just playing around with it. This last week, I was honored to go to the Internet Cat Video Festival in San Luis Obispo, California. This is a tour that's actually traveling across the country, and I believe it was about 6 months ago. Correct me if I'm wrong, Judy. We actually talked to somebody from the tour in Minnesota.
Yes, we did. The Walker
Art Institute, I believe.
Yes,
and what they did is they said they were going to go on tour at that time. And they have taken this on tour. And I've mentioned this before. When you say Internet Cat Video Film Festival, you think well, maybe there's a bunch of single, hopeless women sitting around in a veterans hall.
With their little cardigans and their glasses and their knitting.
Not the case. And in fact, so many people show up to these things that a lot of them are sold out. The guy who's hosting the tour and traveling around the country, he actually created one of the videos that won the, the Golden Kitty Award. Henry, or Henri?
Henri.
You say it in French, Judy.
Henri.
Le Chat Noir?
Let Debbie say it. She could say it.
Debbie, you do it much better.
Yes.
Henri. I don't know. Hey, kitty, kitty, kitty.
This is a little tuxedo cat. I encourage you to just go over to YouTube right now and put in Henry, spelled Henri.
You'll find it.
And you'll find it.
A bunch of them.
It's gone viral.
Yeah.
So the guy who made the video, William Braden's hosting the tour, and he's joining us right now. Hi, William. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to be here.
Can I just say you're a rock star in my eyes?
Yeah, well, I'm starting to feel like it after the tour. It's been really, really fun. I'm taking some getting used to it.
Yeah, well, so now what cities have you been in so far, and what kind of turnout have you had?
We had a couple one-off shows. We were in Brooklyn, a few things in Chicago that were benefits for cat rescue there that were great. And then this tour started in Seattle, which is where I'm from. We went to Spokane, Boise, San Luis Obispo, where you were at, I believe, and Oakland, Long Beach, Reno, and then we ended up in a huge show in Los Angeles.
How many people show up at these things?
They had to stop selling tickets online just so they could let in some of the people that had been waiting in line for an hour or so. It was a line about 2 blocks long outside the actual place. So it's definitely as successful as we hoped for this tour. So we're going to definitely keep doing it going forward.
Well, it's crazy success. First of all, the whole attraction to internet cat videos. What is that? Explain that. Why are we just innately drawn to cat videos?
I think I like to say there's really 2 parts to it. One is that everyone really just likes cats. I mean, cats are immensely popular, but they don't get to be sort of out in the world as much as dogs. There aren't really any cat parks the way there's dog parks. No one walks their cats around on leashes, so the internet became like this sort of virtual way for people to share the experience of having a cat, to say like, oh, the cat in that video does the same thing that mine does, or things like that. And then the other side of it is really that I think these videos have always been really popular. It's just that in the last couple of years, it became a little bit more acceptable, I guess, palatable to actively like them. It didn't have to be something kind of, embarrassing. Like you said, the stigma of sort of the cat ladies and all of that. So in the last couple of years, all of that sort of, the lid has come off of it, and it's just been kind of a okay, fun, cool thing to enjoy without having to be embarrassed about it.
When you put it together, this, what is it, an hour and a half of reel that you show at these events, are these...
Yeah, it varies a little bit. It's a little less than that, about 75 minutes.
Do you get the rights for these, or are they public domain rights? How do you put together a film like this?
It's complicated, but there's a very specific reason why we don't sell DVDs, for example, or why we like to partner up with nonprofits and things like that, is because we obviously get permission from anybody that makes the videos and try to get in touch with them. And mostly we send a lot of traffic to their YouTube videos, so it really boosts the visibility of them. But we just get a very, very limited rights just to make sure that, everybody's happy. But mostly it's just because we're just making a list of all these ones that are on YouTube anyway. It's actually pretty basic. This
is a happy accident for you. You've fallen into this by making a video about your cat, Henry.
Yeah, a happy accident is very good. I would usually say dumb luck, but a happy accident is a little more diplomatic. I'll say that. I was in film school. This was in 2006. I had a project to do where I was supposed to do a profile of someone, and I had procrastinated, and I didn't have enough time to finish it. And we'd been watching a lot of these old black and white French New Wave films, and I thought, well, maybe if I do a profile of this cat and I do a parody, and if I make it funny enough, maybe no one will notice I didn't really follow the assignment. And it worked, and I got it made. That was the genesis of all of this. And then years later, I finally made a Facebook page for Henri, for the character.
Well, this is radio. I encourage listeners to head on over to YouTube and definitely look for Henry, Henri, Le Chat Noir. How do you say the rest of that there?
Well, over 2 years, I actually got to where I could pronounce it decently. I was pretty bad to begin with, but it's really just Henri Le Chat Noir.
He is a wise cat. I think one of his best sayings was, if you gaze long into the catnip gazes also into you. And I have lived my life that way.
Yeah.
Is there a website for the Cat Video Festival?
Well, we're in the process of transitioning it actually now, because when it was, you mentioned the Walker Arts Center in Minneapolis. All of this has sort of been under their purview until recently, and now as we're starting to go on tour, it's sort of becoming a separate entity. So we're in the process of putting together a separate website, so it'll just be all of the information in one place. But for now, if you Google anything about the Internet Cat Video Festival or whatever, it'll send you to the Walker Arts Center page. That'll be the first thing that comes up, and that's where you can get all the basic info about the history of it. And we should be updating it with, what's upcoming for now. As soon as we have an external website, that'll be linked to it as well. So.
Well, I got to tell you got the thumbs up from Roger Ebert before he passed. He called Henry II the best Internet cat video ever made.
Yeah,
so,
that was. I tell people on stage, I hope to get married and have kids someday, but that'll still be the best thing that ever happened.
There you go.
I was a huge Roger Ebert fan, and after he passed, I reached out to to the contact that was there for his blog, and mentioned that it was just a really big honor that he had mentioned it, and I assumed that it was just somebody else who ran the blog or his Twitter account that did it, and I actually got a response from his assistant and said, if you think he didn't run all of that and type everything himself, you're crazy. Especially after his speech was affected, he just lived online and lived for it. So that means he actually really did see it and really declared that. So it really that meant a lot. That was when I knew, like, oh my God.
I was going to say that too, but it doesn't throw as much weight around as
coming from you, Hal.
Roger Ebert. Hey, William, thanks so much for hanging with us today.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
And hopefully we'll talk again. Keep us posted. We'll put links to all of William's websites over at animalradio.com. We'll head back to the phones next.
You're listening to Animal Radio.
Hi, this is Jamie Farr, and you're listening to the Animal Radio Network. And remember to spay and neuter your pets.
Need a fix of the good stuff? Get more Animal Radio with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
People say less is more. At Red Barn, we think less is better. It's what you won't find that sets our natural premium pet food apart. No byproducts, no corn or soy, no fillers. Just the natural ingredients your pets need to live the healthy life they deserve. Look at the label. We want you to. Red Barn Naturals Pet Food. Simply the best. Find it in your local pet specialty store. Red Barn canned food for cats and dogs is grain and gluten-free.
Live at the Red Barn Studios, you're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Hey, Larry, how are you doing? Oh, Harry, I'm sorry. Harry, how are you doing?
Okay, how are you doing?
Good. Where are you calling from today?
I'm at Lenhartsville area.
Is that Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it's Lenhartsville. It's right outside of Kutztown.
Oh, okay. I know the place.
Toward Hamburg, Kutztown, in that way.
Yeah, I've been through there, never. But I understand that you were a bunch of big animal lovers over there in Pennsylvania.
Well, I'll tell you, I used to do racing, too, and I had a field in my farm where I had cars I'd be repairing or building, race cars for the boys. I had 27 German Shepherds for security around the L-shaped perimeter I couldn't see from the house right.
Whoa.
And I took these here German Shepherds that other people couldn't handle. And I got them that they behaved good. I even donated one to the police department. And when Johnson was president, I had a kennel at the barn, the English Beagles. And when they had their litters one time, I had a 34 head count in the kennel.
Well, that must have been a lot of food.
I used to buy 1,500 pounds at a time.
Holy cow.
Man's best friend was working good for me, and I just got done coming in the house, bringing firewood in. The house I'm renting here, I have electric heaters, and I have the fireplace. And the dog I have with me now, I was just sitting here on the sofa, petting her and fussing over her because she loves attention. And to me, God's best gift to a man is his friendly animals.
Oh, you bet. You bet.
You can trust them more than you can trust somebody else, because somebody else, if I'd hired guys to guard what I had on the farm, they'd have been stealing from me more than likely. The dogs, I treat them good.
27 German Shepherds. I bet nobody messed with your property, huh?
27 German Shepherds around the L-shaped perimeter around my field where I had the automobiles in. The end of the barn, I had one. And down at the overhang, I had two more, so that made 30 German Shepherds I had.
Well, it sounds like you had a lot of great friends there.
Well, I tell you, with the farming today, I don't know what's wrong with people that don't understand. If you don't have a farmer doing what he's doing to help feed the crowd, what happens if they get hungry?
Yep, we need our farmers in our farmland.
Thank you for what you do. I appreciate your time today. Toll free, it's 1-866-405-8405 to check in with the Dream Team. I have Dr. Debbie here, dog trainer Alan Cable, and dog father Joey Villani for you.
This guy's a lunatic.
He's from a different era, Alan.
It was normal
He's
back
got
then,
30
Alan.
German Shepherd. How come 10 wasn't enough? How did he arrive at the 30 number?
You sound like you need to get healthy there,
I'm
Alan.
sick. I'm sick, Dr. Debbie. I got me a bronchitis, I think is what I got.
Can you look in his throat and tell us if it's anything that he should be on medicine for?
Oh my gosh, you got a hairball back there. Holy crap.
Just give me some veterinary
Give me the
care. I'll
forceps.
be fine.
Oh, it's a cockroach. Oh my God.
Okay, I just lost our last caller because I was texting at the same time as
they're very dangerous.
doing the radio show. Sorry about that. There, we have. Is it Rob on the phone? Hey, Rob, how are you doing?
Okay, how are you today?
Where are you?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Are you where in Pennsylvania?
Near Wilkes-Barre, Scranton. I'm east or west of there, out in the hills.
How can we help you? I have Dr. Debbie right here.
Well, howdy. Howdy. How are you?
Very good.
I got a thing from our vet. It's just a booklet that came out. I was reading through it, and it says it was talking about how roundworms and hookworms, I believe it were, can be transmitted when animals eat other critters.
You got it.
I was, how likely is that? And is there worming that can be done preventively for that? Or because we have a couple of cats and they hunt the bunnies and the squirrels and chipmunks, and the dogs sometimes steal from them and eat them. And so I didn't know, if they should be wormed like twice a year just in case, or...
Yeah, very good questions, and I'm glad to hear somebody actually reads those handouts that we veterinarians give you guys. So it's very good. But yes, very good questions. So things like roundworms, hookworms, yes, we can have a hunter, say a cat that hunts, eats... rodents, birds, rabbits. Well, I guess a cat would need a rabbit, but that's my dog, actually. Oh, yeah. So, yes, they can actually acquire some of these parasites, not just from the regular soil or eating stool, but from actually eating other creatures. And how common is it? Probably not the most common way that pets get infected, but it is possible. So yes, we would, in your area, you might, every area in the country has different parasite burdens and loads, but I'd say from what you're sounding like where you're from on the East Coast, I would be thinking twice a year deworming would be a very rational protocol where we'd basically deworm as much as we need for the area we're in. Now, I'm from Las Vegas. We don't have as many of these type of critters, so once a year out here would seem appropriate for that. And for dogs, the best way to do regular deworming is to actually use a monthly heartworm preventative that also has a deworming for intestinal parasites. So that can be one of the great ways for dogs to ensure that we keep this parasite burden very low and help to protect against those kind of acquiring of the parasites along the road.
Okay. And how about ticks? Is it only the deer tick that carries Lyme disease, or is it the bigger ones too, the wood ticks?
There are other varieties, and I'll be honest, there's lots of different species out there. Any tick, in my eyes, is suspect, not just because of Lyme disease, because of the other diseases they carry, ehrlichiosis, anaplasma. So there's other diseases that those little critters can carry. So in my eyes, no tick is a good tick.
Okay. All righty.
Thanks.
Well, I thank you for your time.
Check out Animal Radio highlights. All the good stuff without the blah, blah, blah. Browse on over to animalradio.pet.
Hi, this is Tanya Tucker on Animal Radio. Love those pets.
Here's today's top automotive news story. I'm Nick Miles. Toyota of Indiana has completed a $1.3 billion monetization project. News was announced at a celebration in Princeton, Indiana, where the all-new 2020 Highlander recently began production. $1 million was also committed to a new regional workforce program connecting students with career opportunities in advanced manufacturing while still in high school. To find your new Toyota, see our reviews at ourautoexpert.com.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service. For professional parts people you can trust, stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, groomer Joey Villani, news director Lori Brooks. And now, from the Red Barn Studios, here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
An amazing hour up ahead. We're going to talk to mob enforcer James Giuliani. Of course, he's changed from what we hear. We'll find out. I guess he's no longer in the mob. He's taking care of animals, has about 60 at his own home, has a brand new television show. How do you get out of the mob? That's what I want to ask him.
I don't know. I didn't think you ever got out.
But that just shows you how animals are healing, and they can really change your life.
Well, that's what he said. And you know what he said? He used to get this adrenaline rush when he would shoot somebody, enforce, do his enforcing. Now he says he gets a better rush out of saving these animals. And we'll talk to him.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I know. It's really, really cool. We'll see if he has changed, because we have ways of finding out. Of course, we have Joey Villani here, who's insanely, I don't know, he's been walking around today a little bit jealous because we have him on.
You think?
And I think he's going to say something during the interview that might get us in trouble. So I just want to tell you, Mr. Giuliani, right now that I can't be responsible for anything Joey says. Or really anything I say, for that matter.
Yeah.
We're going to go to the phones. 1-866-405-8405. It's toll free. What are you working on, Stacy?
I know you've heard the old saying, the old trick where the magician pulls the rabbit out of a hat. Well, what about pulling a cockroach out of your ear? Yeah, some guy had this weird cockroach in his ear. Well, any cockroach is weird, but I'm going to give you the details coming up. He lived with it for a while, too. Took forceps to get it out. Okay, that's enough. I've given too much away. You got to check it out. Coming up on Animal Radio News.
How cool.
I know.
I saw that story, and I heard that guy talking. He's in Australia.
Well, I've told you before that I've pulled out cockroaches out of dogs' ears as well.
That's
they crawl in there when they're sleeping, and
exist.
it's just disgusting. They come out, and you can see all the little pieces, parts, and yeah.
Oh, that is so gross.
You wonder why that dog's shaking his head, and he's got a cockroach shoved in there.
Don't act like you don't love it, Dr. Debbie. Don't even act that way.
I had to keep the squeal of glee subdued until after she was finished. I have to admit that.
Let's go to Jason. Hey, Jason, how are you doing today?
All right, how you doing?
Good. Where are you calling from?
Hamburg, Pennsylvania.
Where in Pennsylvania is that?
About 20 minutes outside of Reading.
Oh, okay. So probably listening on WEEU, and I appreciate it.
That's correct.
Well, I understand you have a dog issue, and I have Alan Cable. He can fix any vexing dog issues you have. Promise.
Okay. You ready?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I have a Lab Rottweiler mix. And to give you our schedule, we both me and my wife work 7 o'clock in the morning. Dogs go out. They go to the bathroom. They come in. They're in their room until I come home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I take them out. They go potty. They come in. They eat their dinner in between 3 and 8 o'clock at night. Me and my wife take them out. They go to the bathroom. They do their business. They both go. I have 2 dogs anyway, 2 labs, but the 3-year-old lab is the one I'm talking about. They both do their business, come back in, and every night she still goes to the bathroom on the floor. It's like a every night thing. I don't know how to stop her from doing it.
Where does she go to the bathroom?
On the floor.
I know. Where? The same spot every time, or a different spot, or carpet, hardwood?
Well, we had her up with my son up in his room for a little bit, and yes, it would be in the same spot every time on the steps. And then just last night, we figured, I just put new carpet in my son's room, so I didn't want her to stay up there, so I let her stay down with me and my wife and my other dog, and she still wound up going then in my daughter's room on the floor.
Yeah.
So it's I want to put new carpet in there, but I'm afraid to because she's going to keep going to the bathroom on the floor.
When you find it the next day, do you get mad at her?
No, I can't because how can I get mad at her? I wasn't there when she did it.
Okay, very simple. First of all, how many hours is it between the time you go to bed and wake up that she gets to go again? How many total hours does she, is she not supposed to?
We go to bed. We take them out at 9 o'clock, and then my wife is taking them back out at 7 in the morning again. So
okay. Do you take their water away? Do you leave water out during the night, or do you take it away?
No water, no food.
Okay, and so you let her have free run of the house too. She can go wherever she wants.
Just on the second floor. She's
just on the second floor.
We have a baby gate across the top of the steps. She's not allowed to go downstairs. She just stays upstairs with me and the wife.
First thing is, have you taken her to the vet to make sure nothing's wrong?
I have not.
Okay. I would start there, and if there's nothing wrong, and there probably isn't, the second thing you're going to do, it's a very simple thing. It's going to make you uncomfortable for a couple of weeks, but it will work very well. When this happens, you kind of got to retrain your dog, re-potty train your dog. So first thing you're going to do is get a good enzyme cleaner at the pet food store that's designed to take the scent totally out, and you're going to clean all the areas where the dog is gone that you know about so that she's not tempted to go back to those areas. The second thing you're going to do is confine her to a crate, a kennel, or a room, maybe your room, so that you can hear, and she wakes you up if there's activity. She can let you know she has to go. But the best thing, put her in a crate overnight to start with. And what you're going to do is you're going to wake up, let's say you go to bed at 9, you're going to wake up at about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're going to let her out. And every night, you're going to do that for about 4 days. And then every night after that, you're going to lengthen it by about 15, maybe a half hour. So for a week at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're going to get up, you're going to let her out, you're going to go back to bed, put her in a crate. And then you're going to do it at 2:30, and then you're going to do it at 3 o'clock, and slowly you're going to work your way up to the time you normally would let her go out, and that should pretty much solve your problem.
Okay.
You're going to teach her slowly when it's okay for her to go out, where it's okay for her to go out. So when you take her out late at night, no talking. Put her on the leash, take her out yourself on a leash. You get out there, you go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom, or whatever it is you say, pee, whatever it is, whatever words you use. Go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. All business. As soon as she goes and is finished going, good dog, give her a treat. Go back in the house, put her in her crate, go to bed.
You said it would be okay to just keep her in the room instead of crating her?
Well, for some reason you seem to be adverse to the crate, but the crate is a wonderful the crate is a wonderful thing. It really is. There's nothing harmful or bad about a crate. Dogs actually love crates, and that's why they like to lay under coffee tables, and they like to go in small confined spaces because it reminds them of their den. So a crate is actually a good thing. If you want to, you can leash her up to your bed so that she's right there with you. But I would use a crate until you can trust her. What were you going to say, Deb?
Oh, I was just going to say, Ellen, I'm glad you mentioned to see the vet to make sure there's not anything going on urinary-wise, because actually female dogs can develop some incontinence problems that can present themselves usually when they're sleeping and lying down. So talking to your vet, having that checked out would be definitely an important step before you start, getting really into a vigorous training program. And the crate, I endorse that as well, because if she were having accidents in the crate, I've got more argument for that situation that you got a health problem there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. And you should always, with any kind of problem with bathroom and going to the bathroom and urinating and stuff like that, always take your dog to the vet, because, it could be a physical problem that she has.
Right.
That's where you start.
Number 2, she's not peeing.
Oh, she's pooing.
Yes, it's not urine. And
you know what?
The thing about it is every time that we take her out, she goes. It's not like we take her out and she messes around or anything. She goes out, she does her business, and we come in. So it's not like she's not going.
So she does number 2 when you take her out at night.
Every night, every time. Between 8 and 9 o'clock at night, on schedule. We keep a tight schedule. We both work. We have schedules.
Well,
and
do me a favor. Do me a favor, because obviously she's not getting it all out. So stay out there with her a little bit longer. Stay out there a little. Allow her to sniff around. Let her take her time, and let her go more than once, because I'll bet you she probably has to. She's probably conditioned to go, and then you go in the house. If you stay out there a little bit longer with her, no talking, just stand there, let her sniff around, be patient, and she goes again, then tell her what a good dog she is. I suspect that will help as well. But you've got to take control of the situation so that you can teach her and train her, retrain, rehousebreak her again. And the best way to do that is with a crate or to have her confined to a space that's very close to you so that you can hear her rustle when she has to go. If she goes and you don't wake up, you need to use a crate, buddy, because it's not mean. Trust me, she'll love it in there. You know why? Because you're always happy to see her when you open the door, and so they associate it with good things.
Alrighty, I'll give that a try and see what happens.
Thanks for your call today, Jason. 1-866-405-8405.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
Hi, this is Elaine Boozler on Animal Radio. Stay and neuter your pets and some of your exes.
Hi, it's Alan Cable. I hope you enjoyed your Super Bowl party. What a game, huh? Went over to someone's house. They had 2 Cocker Spaniels that they had locked up. Adult dogs, not puppies. We'd been over there before and they'd had the dogs locked up, so I waited to see who was going to come to the Super Bowl party. I already knew that one of the dogs had a problem being around people while the other one remained calm and was very, very happy and content. So I was waiting to see if the folks that came over were dog people, calm, or maybe people who just didn't like dogs. Before I talked to the owners about letting the dog out, I wanted to make sure that everybody had their head in the game so that the dog wouldn't become even more afraid of people. Get the behavior reinforced that people were scary. I also wanted to make sure the owners weren't nervous about letting the dogs free because dogs sense nervousness. They feel it. And when you're nervous and your dog's nervous, that's when you make mistakes. So after talking to everybody and telling them to just ignore the dogs, we opened the closet door where they were, but left them in their crate so they could get used to the sights and sounds and smells. Well, the one's just wagging his tail, wants to meet everybody. The other one's a nervous wreck, just shaking, barking at people too. But everybody just went about their business, eating and talking and pretending the dog wasn't there. I'd given treats beforehand to about 5 of the people at the party and told them that when they sat down to not look at the dog and just take a treat out and hold it in their hand. You know, one at a time, not all at once. Then I told them when the dog came to get the treat to gently and slowly pat him on the side of the body. Just a nice stroke. Well, it turned into a wonderful night for the owners and the dog. Within just a few hours, you could see the change in the dog's behavior. This dog was relaxed and calm and walking up to people to be pet. You could see the nervousness just drain right out. The owners were amazed. They had their doubts, but I assured them with a little bit of time and patience, this dog could be great around people. And it happened much faster than I thought it would. The reason was we had a rare combination of people at this party. They couldn't have been any more perfect. Remember, if you have a dog that's afraid of people, you can change that slowly over time. Be calm and bring them around other calm people who love dogs.
Okay, yeah, so puppy pads are convenient, but sometimes they're really gross. That's why Ladybug, the Animal Radio Studio stunt dog, uses the Brilliant Pad self-cleaning puppy pad. It seals away the waste and replaces the dirty pad for us. Brilliant Pad keeps the Animal Radio Studios smelling fresh. In fact, all we have to do is replace the roll once every few weeks. And let me tell you, that's pretty fast and easy to do. I love it, and Ladybug gives it 5 paws up. You can learn more about this amazing machine over at brilliantpad.com.
Live at the Red Barn Studios, you're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Ladies and gentlemen, the dog father, Joey Villani. How are you doing?
So, I'm getting a lot of you. I guess, you know what is it? I mean, I'm now that I'm a West Coast guy, I don't pay much attention, but we're in this deep freeze, I guess, out everywhere else. And there's a lot of dogs that are going out there and they're getting rock salt in their coats. And I had a question from a woman, which is actually a really good question. She has a Shih Tzu and she wants to know how damaging is this salt to a dog's coat. And honestly, it's as damaging to your pet's coat as it is everything else. Salt just breaks down everything, and what it's going to do to your dog's coat, it's going to break the hair, because when it gets on it, it's going to dry it out, and then you're going to have hair breakage and hair loss, and also you can have irritation depending on how sensitive your skin is. And that's not even talking about the pads of the dog's feet, but that's for another show. The best thing you could do is brush it out. Okay. Get it out of the coat. I mean, of course, bathing and drying is a wonderful thing, but if you're going out there and they're throwing salt on every day, you're not going to have the luxury of doing that. Well, most people won't. So brush and comb it out, okay, and give it a really, really good brush, because a lot of times it's just like the residue on your sidewalk. You throw it down, and what ends up happening is it takes, sometimes weeks to go away because it gets embedded. Well, it's the same thing in your pet's coat. So brush it and comb it out really good, and then feel the coat, because you'll actually feel it on the dog's coat. It's going to have a residue type feel, just something a little bit more unnatural than how your dog should normally feel. The other thing is what you can do is once it's brushed out, and there's a human product that I really love. It's Moroccan argan oil. And I've been using this on pets now for a couple of years.
Now, where do you get that? That sounds pretty exotic.
No, I use it on my
No,
dog.
you get it in any supermarket.
Argan
yeah.
oil?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, see, Judy knows what it is because she probably uses it. A lot of women use it in their hair because it's a good oil conditioning treatment. Now, what it's going to do is you're going to just put a very small amount in your, maybe the size of a dime. Rub it in and work it in your dog's coat, and then rebrush and comb that in. Now, what that's almost going to do is almost going to give like a protective barrier, where the salt, if it does get on the coat, most of it's not going to stick and it's not going to penetrate into the coat itself. So it's going to keep the dogs from getting major hair breakage. And that's probably the easiest and the best way to treat the salt. Now, if you're a person who likes to eat dog, well, the salt might be a good brine. So you can.
Oh, you didn't have to go there.
What is that for our
you
Korean
never
listeners?
know. I mean, listen, it's already salted.
Huh.
What are you doing?
Even the bird's laughing. Even the bird's laughing.
He's laughing.
The bird sounds like the bird's not happy.
No, the bird does. Is something wrong with the bird?
Gurney.
Well, because we don't have her in the studio with us, so yeah, she's in the other room.
She likes to be with you. She's kind of daddy bonded, isn't she?
Correct.
Yeah.
Jeez. Bird sounds like a cat's after her.
No, she'll take care of the cat. Believe me.
Hey, Beth, how are you?
Good. How are you today?
Good. Where are you?
In the great state of Alabama. South Alabama.
Great state of Alabama. I love it. I love it. Now, you don't have that Alabama accent, though.
Oh, you think not? Well, thank you. I'm surprised you say that.
Now
I hear it there. I catch it. Yeah, I'm picking up on it.
Well, now, of course, you have the Indiana accent, Dr. Debbie, which is fairly middle America.
I have the Chicago accent.
Oh.
I'm not from southern Indiana, so it's more that nasally Chicago thing.
Well, how can we help you today, Beth?
I have a question for Dr. Debbie. I have 4 dogs. 3 of them are labs. 1 is a mixed breed, and they are, I think, senior dogs. 2 of them are 12 years old, and the other 2 are 9 years old. Okay. And I have 3 labs, and like I said, a mixed breed. I was wondering, I read somewhere about feeding the dogs. We feed our dogs at night or late in the afternoon. I read somewhere that as your dog gets older, that perhaps it's better to split up the feeding. Feed in the morning and then at night. What do you think?
I personally, in general, for any dog, I like feeding twice a day. And there's a couple of reasons. It generally kind of coincides with the social time in the household. So it's a bonding time. And I do meal feeding for my dog. So I set it down, and it's a time for me to kind of reward them and also practice some obedience skills as well. But also it helps to kind of set that pattern of this is what you're going to do for the day. And for many dogs, maybe not so much in an older dog, but it helps to decrease boredom if they have things to do at the beginning and the end of the day, something to look forward to. So they're maybe less apt to chew things in the yard or around the house. And then I'd say the once a day thing for an older pet, we might be a little bit more worried about some health problems. If there's any continence issues, then twice a day feeding might be a little tough if they're unsupervised for periods of the time. But it does have the benefit of if you feed twice a day, it can help to maybe decrease the risk of something such as bloat, which is a problem, especially in larger dogs. When it's better if we feed small meals more often than one large, very big meal during the day. So that would be maybe a health benefit I could see for your situation there. But the honest truth is some dogs prefer once a day eating, and if it's kind of ingrained and they seem satisfied, then there's no reason you have to change it. It would be more just a strategy to kind of work on some of those other things. And in older pets, we want to make sure they are eating, so twice a day feeding does give you that opportunity to really kind of observe their eating and drinking on a more frequent interval, and that might be a benefit for the older timers as well.
Well, this portion of Animal Radio is underwritten by Kensington Books, inspired by true stories of klepto kitties caught stealing from humans. Mac, the mischievous tabby, is back in Mac on a Hot Tin Roof. But this time, there's little time for his usual shenanigans when Mac becomes the foster parent to an orphaned litter of adorable kittens. Filled with lots of cat-attitude and love, Mac on a Hot Tin Roof by Melinda Metz is available everywhere books are sold. Visit KensingtonBooks.com for more information. And thanks, Kensington, for underwriting Animal Radio.
Check out Animal Radio highlights. All the good stuff without the blah, blah, blah. Browse on over to animalradio.pet.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Ross on Animal Radio. Please remember to spay and neuter your pets.
Everyone's favorite matchmaking klepto kitty MacGyver is back in Mac on a Hot Tin Roof. And this time, he's thieving his way through the greatest adventure of all, parenting. When Mac finds a litter of orphan kittens, the mischievous tabby has no choice but to put his life of crime on pause. Because the tables have turned, and now Mac is the one to have something stolen. His heart. Mac on a Hot Tin Roof by Melinda Metz is available everywhere books are sold. For more info, visit KensingtonBooks.com.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacy Cohen for Animal Radio. This cold weather is affecting all kinds of animals, big and small. And the death of a young horse that was rescued in Enoch, Utah is rousing animal cruelty activists. Kendra Munden with Madera's Gold Horse Rescue said there is no excuse for Elsa's death.
Starving to death is, to me, one of the most horrible things that you could ever endure. They can't feed them or they don't want to feed them. They need to try to place them somewhere.
Rescuers found the young malnourished horse several weeks ago. Her head was frozen to the ground. Elsa's mom is still being cared for at a Cedar City sanctuary. An Enoch City man is facing cruelty charges in connection with the incident. Well, anybody who leaves a dog outside in the cold should be charged with a felony, says State Senator Greg Ball. He's calling on tougher new legislation to protect dogs and cats from being left outside in the cold all day. The legislation comes in the wake of an incident that occurred in an upstate puppy mill. The new legislation, which is being drafted, will make it a felony for intentionally failing to provide adequate shelter for a dog. The owner of the puppy farm upstate was charged with a violation of the state's agriculture and markets law that only carries a maximum fine of $100. The legislation will make state law on this fall into line with the punishment for Buster's Law, punishable with up to 2 years in prison and a $5,000 fine. Earlier this month, Governor Cuomo signed legislation co-sponsored by Ball to enable local governments to regulate pet dealers and puppy mills. An Australian man is gaining worldwide notoriety for the critter that was recently pulled out of his ear. According to the Australian Broadcast Corporation, last week doctors pulled a cockroach out of Hendrik Helmer's ear. It was nearly an inch long. The roach was first killed with olive oil, and then they took it out with forceps. It's gross. I don't mean to laugh, but come on. The insect had crawled into Helmer's ear last Tuesday night, and he awoke the next morning in incredible pain. News of the incident was circulating on websites around the world. Hendrik says he wasn't expecting the news to travel so fast, but he understands because many people are freaked out by the idea of having an insect inside their ear. Yes, we are, Hendrik. A pet cemetery owner in eastern Iowa is battling state regulators over the proper procedure for burying horses. The Iowa Department of Natural Resources has fined Steve Johnson $10,000 for not sending dozens of horses to a landfill. The state considers the animals to be solid waste that should be discarded in this manner. Well, the Des Moines Register says that Johnson's appealing the fine to the Iowa Environmental Protection Commission. The group meets in a few weeks. Johnson's attorney says his client gives the horses a dignified burial. A DNR attorney says the agency is concerned about the quality of the state's groundwater. Experts in the industry of pet burials say states like Iowa may not be keeping pace with how owners want to treat their deceased animals. I'm Stacy Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio, my friend. And if you missed any part of today's show, don't forget you can download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android, listen to it, as well as ask your questions of Dr. Debbie, dog trainer Alan Cable, and dog father Joey Villani. And I got to say, I've been waiting for this all hour long. This next guy, let me tell you, he was the top of the mob, pretty close to the top of the mob. They called him the head. He was a mob street enforcer in Brooklyn. Not the kind of guy you want to mess around with. Let me tell you right now, he has changed. His whole life has changed. And I think mostly due to a dog. We'll find out the story. He has a brand new show that's on the Oprah Network. Former mafia head street enforcer, James Guiliani. I welcome him to Animal Radio Airwaves. Hey, James, how are you doing?
How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. Splendid. Great to have you on the airwaves. Now, you're a pretty scary guy, or you were a pretty scary guy, I got to tell you with that right now. But you've changed your ways. What have you done? What has changed your ways?
I changed 360. I went from just being a totally bad person to meeting the right woman, meeting the right dog, getting on track, opening up a rescue, opening up a dog store. I put down alcohol, drugs. I put down everything. Basically, I just left everything behind me and started a new life 8 years ago.
And the dog helped, right?
The dog did everything. I found a dying dog on the street with my girl, and I fixed him up. I brought him to the vet. I did everything I had to do. My first dog, never had one. I really didn't even want him. She basically pushed him on me, and he became my best friend. And then I got the bad news that he was dying from lymphoma, and there was nothing we could do. And he died on me, and he changed my life.
Well, you dedicated your life to him after that.
From that day on. From that day on, I've never picked up a drug or a drink or committed any kind of violent crime. From that day on, I jumped in with 2 feet and started my journey in the life of rescue. And it's been 8 years, and it's been the best time of my life. It was like I was reborn.
Well, you have like 60 animals at home, don't you?
I have 30 at home, and I have 32 in my rescue. I started an organization called Kino's Animal Rescue in Brooklyn. And basically, I just rented a big store, and I have a cages facility for all the animals in Brooklyn, all the little street guys out here.
Well, that's a pretty amazing turnaround, and I understand that there's a whole reality show. Tell people about the reality show and how it came to be, because I understand that you pitched it to Animal Planet and they turned it down.
Well, I pitched it to Matt. I didn't pitch it at all. Everybody came at me at once, and basically I had a choice to make, and there's no other choice when Oprah's name is involved.
Uh-huh.
How could you not go with her? She's an animal lover.
That's a deal you can't refuse, right?
I'm sorry?
Nothing.
No, Oprah, I always loved Oprah. I always loved everything about Oprah. I watched her as I was growing up as a kid. And I wanted a clean channel. I wanted a channel for people to learn. And I think Oprah's platform is the best for me to do that. So my choice went with Oprah within minutes of being asked who I'd rather be with. And so far, everything's been just, a champagne ride.
Well, what's the show about?
The show is just about my life. The show is about my life with my wife, Madalena Pirelli, how she transformed me into what I am now. I just, basically what I do is I go out every day and I rescue what I can. I never overwhelm myself. I do the best by the animal. I got the best vet, Salvatore Panisse, Brooklyn Vet Group, who are the best in the world, backing every play that I bring them. And, my word to everybody is just, anybody can do what I do. It doesn't take a TV show. It doesn't take, celebrity status. It doesn't take money. It just takes going to get something, love it, and save it. People ask me how many animals I save. I tell them I don't count. As long as you did one, you're good in my book.
I don't know much about the mob myself except for what I see in movies. Do they just let you walk away?
Yeah, that was my question.
I was just going to ask that. I was going to ask that. I was going to say that.
If they let me walk away, I would have walked away anyhow. I still have my friends that are still near and dear to me. I didn't want to do it no more. I didn't want violence in my life no more. I wanted to make a change. I never did anything unselfish in my life until I met Bruno, and he showed me how it was. He showed me, how it is to give back. And, it was like, being hit by a meteorite. Believe me, I wasn't expecting what happened. It was totally left field. After 8 years, I'm getting phone calls now that I'm on TV, on the Open channel, and I'm getting phone calls from people saying, this isn't you.
You've changed.
this can't be you. I fell off the couch when I heard your voice, you know, because you know that's how wild of a person I was. So when this happened to me, you know, and how good it felt to me, you know, now I know what I want to do. I want to change people that are me now and make them into what I am now.
So do you work with other people, like children, you know, that are starting out on the...
Well, I'll give you a great example. The show aired, the fourth show aired Friday night. Saturday morning, I get a phone call at my store. Some lady called me up. Her son seen my show. He was so amazed by it, he went out looking for rescues.
Wow.
Now listen, it gets better. He found a kitten that just got hit by a car, underneath the car in about a foot of snow.
Aww.
And they actually captured the cat and brought it to me Saturday afternoon. Now, she said, thank you. And I was like, thank you for what? I said, no, thank you for bringing this kitten to me. She goes, no, thank you, because my son would never have done that.
Wow.
My son would have walked by it. You made him, by your show, you changed his mind for us to call you and see how we should do it, and we did it. So don't you understand right there? That's a victory for me.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
a great
thing. You know, how great is that? The kid was 12 years old. I changed a 12-year-old kid's mind. Instead of walking by the cat, to actually get the cat, take the responsibility of bringing it to me, and let me bring it to Dr. P and fix the cat up. Now the cat's beautiful.
Right, we're going to let's take a quick break here. We are with James Giuliani. He is former mob thug. Do you hate it when people call you that? Or, I mean, that's what you were pretty much.
Well, I'm not embarrassed by my past.
Okay.
You know?
But you've changed and completely.
Yes, I did.
And we're going to keep talking to you in just a couple of minutes. You have a brand new show on the Oprah Network, Fridays 10 p.m. Eastern, Pacific and Eastern. Okay. And we'll be back with him in just 1 second.
Here is today's top automotive news story. I'm Nick Miles. Volkswagen of America has announced pricing for its all-new 2020 Atlas Cross Sport with a starting MSRP of $30,545. The Cross Sport features a coupe-like design as well as advanced connectivity and driver assistance systems. The Atlas Cross Sport is powered by either a 276 horsepower V6 or a 235 horsepower four-cylinder engine and will be available this quarter. To find your new Atlas Cross Sport, read our reviews at ourautoexpert.com.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service. For professional parts people you can trust, stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
I'm Beth Stern on Animal Radio and Adopt from your local shelter.
Live at the Red Barn Studios, you're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
We are now talking to James Giuliani. He is a former mob street enforcer in Brooklyn. That's a tough life, I got to tell you that right now. And he changed his ways. He went to jail for, I believe, 3 years, and then he met a lady who... How did you know the lady you met was right for you? That's what I want to know.
I didn't. I really didn't. I just knew... that you know what it was. She was something I never met before. Every girl I've ever dated, you know, they want to go out, they want to party, they wanted this, they wanted that, and all she didn't want anything from me. And she was very unselfish, and she was normal, and it kind of intrigued me because I'd never met a woman like that before, and I stuck around. And second week into our relationship, she ended up picking my jaw in front of the house.
What?
And
she punched you in the face
to the jaw.
Oh,
and,
wow!
I was hooked from that day on. I knew, you know, I loved that about her. I loved that she was, you know, she wasn't there to please me. She was there to straighten me out. And at this point in my life, I needed to be straightened out as much as I didn't think I needed it. And you know, without Lena pointing me towards Bruno, without her pushing me towards Bruno, making me pick Bruno up off the street and bring him, I would not be here on this radio station. I would not be on the Oprah station. I would be in the cemetery. So I owe it to my girl, the love of my life, and I owe it to Bruno. Because if Bruno didn't die on me, he died to save me.
Yeah.
And because when he, it impacted me, and and it set me on my journey. And this is what I want to do. This is what I love to do.
Yeah, I got a question. Do you think that all guys, guys like you, with a history of violence, a lot of them enjoy it. They enjoy inflicting pain on people. Do you think that most guys can be changed into what you are, or do you think it's just a unique circumstance that you actually found that you had a conscience in there somewhere?
Well, you know what it is? There are certain people, that I don't think can ever change. But I think the majority can. And, there's a lot of things that people try to put out there. And, like, one of the big things I'm into is, like for prisons, I think what we should have there is we should have certain prisoners who are doing these bids. There should be dogs allowed on the premises where they can start working and training with the animals. Because I think once anybody gives their soul up to an animal, I hate using that word, but a pet. I really feel that it makes their whole life go around just from loving the animal. It breaks the wall down. You understand? Because you got to remember something. I didn't like people. I never encountered pets. I never had one, but I always hated people. And to this day, I'm still more with the pets, with the animals. Do you understand? So it's like a wall was in me, and the only thing that took the wall down, it wasn't a human, it wasn't a person, it wasn't a priest, it was an animal. And I think that if we incorporate that into our prison systems and let these felons work with animals, I think we can break that wall down, and their heart can start showing more.
Here.
I truly believe that an animal heals everything. I truly do, because it healed me.
I'm going to check out the show. I hope you do, too. Oprah Network. It's Fridays, 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. It's called The Diamond Collar. The Diamond Collar. Is. And that, of course, is our brand new friend, James Guiliani, joining us. Hey, James, please stay in touch, will you?
Guys, listen, honestly, it was a pleasure. You're great people. What you do is great. It's amazing. And, yeah, I will definitely keep in touch, and I will definitely keep doing what I'm doing. And, everybody just watch The Diamond Collar. You can learn. It's very simple. I'm not jumping through hoops and knocking down doors. I'm just doing real rescue and the way it should be done.
You're awesome. Awesome. Thanks, man.
No, thank you, guys. I appreciate your time.
There you go. An amazing man right there. James Guiliani. He has changed his ways there, all for the better. Oprah Network, 10 p.m. That's Eastern and Pacific on Friday nights. Changed his ways 360 degrees. First thing he said was, I've changed my ways 360 degrees.
I changed 360.
But he had to have a conscience in there somewhere for that to happen.
See, there's a lot of people how they don't understand
get that. That's just common. Dr. Debbie, if someone changes their ways 360 degrees,
they're back
to where they started.
It is.
It has to be 180 degrees is the halfway, the opposite.
Yes.
Yes, it's math, and then animal math radio.
Yeah.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too.
Des Moines resident Clarence Fenton was recently charged with driving under the influence of drugs. His dog's drugs. He's still not exactly sure what happened. Authorities say the phenobarbital that was in his bloodstream when he crashed into a utility pole with his car had been prescribed by a vet. 47-year-old Fenton said he took what he thought were the doctor-prescribed antidepressants when police reports show his car hit the pole. His blood work showed that Fenton had actually taken seizure control pills prescribed for his dog, Saturn. Tammy Noble of the Poison Control Center said the story is more common than you'd think. She said they've had 3 cases this year. People often take their pet's heartworm medication. Ooh. This would be a good time to remind you to read the labels of any medication you're taking. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio.
Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
That's all we have time for today. Be sure to visit us over at animalradio.com and download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. It's an easy, free download. Even Alan can do it.
I could if I wanted.
See.
I want to thank William Braden and James Guiliani for joining us today. You guys are awesome. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Always adopt, don't declaw.
This is Animal Radio Network.